From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, December the 26th, 2018. We open with the situation in Israel's parliament after an announcement was made to hold early elections. The heads of the 5 coalition parties released a statement Monday saying out of national and budgetary responsibility, the leaders of the coalition parties decided by unanimous agreement to dissolve the Knesset and go to new elections at the beginning of April after a 4-year term. This follows a number of coalition crises, including ongoing debate over the Haredi draft bill, which enlists ultra-Orthodox men in the IDF. A bill officially allowing for the Knesset's dissolution was being voted on in the Knesset today. Early elections are predicted for April the 9th of next year. A Palestinian driver tried to run over a group of Israeli soldiers and civilians this afternoon in the West Bank. The incident occurred at a bus stop outside of Nablus near an IDF base, where the driver was reportedly driving slowly and then suddenly sped up towards the crowd. IDF soldiers shot at the car, injuring the terrorist, who was taken to the hospital for treatment. No soldiers or civilians were injured, though 2 women and 1 man were taken to the hospital for anxiety. And the IDF today announced that it had found and neutralized another terror tunnel. Sharing video of the tunnel, which is said to have been the 5th discovered by the IDF, dug by terror group Hezbollah from Lebanon, infiltrating Israeli territory. And last night, the IDF reported that it activated an aerial defense system in response to an anti-aircraft missile launched from Syria. Airstrikes conducted near Damascus that hit a weapons site and storage area controlled by Iran's Revolutionary Guard were blamed on Israel, but the IDF has not commented on that. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the threat from Syria and Israel's commitment to act against it. He told a graduation ceremony for Israeli Air Force pilots at the Hatzerim base today in southern Israel, "We will not abide an Iranian entrenchment in Syria. We are taking action against it aggressively and powerfully, including in these very days." Netanyahu also noted U.S. President Donald Trump's recent decision to withdraw American troops from Syria, which the Prime Minister said does not change our policy. We take action in Syria and anywhere else. The last surviving fighter from the Warsaw Ghetto uprising has died. Simcha Rotem bravely battled alongside his fellow Jewish partisans in a supreme act of resistance against the Nazis in 1943. World Jewish Congress President Ronald Lauder called Rotem's passing the end of an era. He said with no regard for his own life, Kazakh fought with courage and dignity, the likes of which will never be seen again, and his bare hands to save his fellow Jews. Rotem, who moved to Israel after the end of World War II, was laid to rest on Monday at Kibbutz Har El. His funeral attended by a number of Israeli politicians, as well as a special delegation from Poland. He is survived by 2 children and 5 grandchildren. He was 94. Well, Jewish Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg is said to be doing well after undergoing surgery this weekend to treat her lung cancer. Spokeswoman for the U.S. Supreme Court, Kathy Arberg, said Ginsburg left New York's Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center yesterday and is now recuperating at home. The 85-year-old justice had 2 malignant growths in her left lung removed on Friday, and doctors say there is now no sign of the disease. And on the same day as her release from the hospital yesterday, the feature film about Ginsburg's life on the basis of sex was released in theaters across the country. And Christians in Israel, who make up about 2% of the population, celebrated Christmas yesterday with festivities and Mass in cities across the country like Nazareth and Jerusalem. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Wednesday, December the 26th at 7 o'clock. It's an all-encompassing survey of Jewish history by the president and CEO of the Center for Jewish History, David Myers. At 8, American-born Israeli entrepreneur and author Tal Keinan discusses his concerns for the future of Judaism with Gary Rosenblatt editor and publisher of the Jewish Week, in a program of the UJA Federation of New York and the Jewish Week from Congregation Kol Ami in White Plains. At 9, it's part 2 of the JBS Jewish Year in Review, as Mark Golub sits down with Thane Rosenbaum, Eric Yaffe, Betty Ehrenberg, and Charles Small to talk about such issues as Jewish criticism of Israel, assimilation, and the future of Jewish pluralism. And they also offered their choices for Jewish Person of the Year. At 10:30, Israeli director Ophir Raoul Grazer talks about the meaning of his feature film, The Cake Maker. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 6:30, it's Thinking Out Loud with Micah Halpern. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, December the 26th, 2018. I'm Teisha Bader.